Hi guys, and welcome to another video. Today we are going to be preparing for our NBT Maths exam. So I have a channel called Smart Prep. This is my private channel. Please subscribe to this where I'll be posting a lot of free video content, and also check out channel Smart Prep where I do the full NBT courses as well as the website Smart Prep, which I will put a link in the description of this video. But I'm sure what you're here for is the questions. So these are NBT past paper questions. We have a whole library of questions. If you are writing this Saturday and you urgently need all the questions, please check out the channel Smart Prep, as well as I say, the Smart Prep website, where you can download all of the past paper questions. And many of these questions will actually be the ones that will come up in your NBT exam. So the more you practice, the better you are going to do. All right, so as you can see, I've done some of the questions, and those are over on the other channel, Smart Prep. Please subscribe to this one, because the next few questions I'll be doing on this channel, and then we will also put some on the Smart Prep channel. So between the two channels, you should get a lot of the information that you need. All right, solve for x if 199 plus 195 plus 191 plus etc. So this is a pattern that goes and then finishes off at 7 and 3 is equal to x plus 1 plus 5. So you've got another sequence of numbers, and then x will be the difference between these two sides, right? So between the numbers on each side. So if I look at this is an arithmetic sequence, right? 199 plus minus 4 will be 195. 195 minus 191 will be 4. So for the maths, pure maths guys, there's a solution to this question over on Smart Prep. What I want to do in this question, though, is for the maths lit people, I'd like to just make this a little bit simpler by breaking it down so that you don't have to understand necessarily sequences. And what I want you to do with this question is I want you to do the first and the last number together. So that would be 199 plus 3, which would be 202. Okay, wait, I need to be... hang on. I'm just going to clear all that, because I want to just use the this here, because I'm going to save this and put it on the website so that people will be able to download the annotated copy so that they can then learn from that. If you don't want to necessarily watch all the videos. Okay, so 199 plus 3 is 202. If we now do the next one, it would be 195 and 7. And what you're going to notice is that you get 202 again. Okay, now we've done these in pairs of 2. Now 199, so from 3 to 199, how many terms would there be? Well, if you think about it, 3 to 7 is 4, right? So it's skipping. So it's multiples of 4. Well, if it was to start at 4 and end at 200, you would have 50 terms, right? Because from 1 to 50 is 50 terms. From 4 to 200 would be 50 terms as well. 4, 8, 12, all the way to 200. 200 divided by 4 is 50, and that's how we know that. Okay, Not sure how that's done, just take my word for it. As I said, a lot of these questions will literally come up exactly as is. So it's great to understand, but also it will help as well just to do as many questions as you can, because what you will find is the questions will repeat themselves. They have a library of questions in the NBT database, and then those get given to you randomly when you write. Okay, 1 plus 197 is 198. Okay. 1 plus 197 is 198. And the next one we'll do a different color. We'll do this one in red. And this will be 5 plus 193, which will also be 198. Okay. Now, you're also going to get 50 terms on this side, okay? Because 1, 5, if you go 1, 5, all the way to 197, you're going to get 50 terms, right? Because they are in multiples of 4, and as I said, 200 divided by 4 is 50. Okay, now these are pairs. So each of these is 2 numbers. So you will get, if there's 50 terms, you will get 25 pairs of 2. Okay, so what we're saying is that we now know that there would be 25 of these 202s and 50 of these 198s. So what we can do is then simply just do the difference between 202 and 198. Well, 202 minus 198 is equal to 4. Okay. So that would mean there would be 25 of these. So the difference between this side on the left and this side on the right would be 4 times 50, because the pairs on these side add up to 202, and the pairs that add up on the right-hand side are 198. So there's a difference of 4 between each pair. And so the difference will be 4 times 25, because there's 25 of those pairs. So 4 times 25 is going to be, we'll do 25 on this side just so that makes sense. 4 times 25 is 100. So the answer for this one is 100. Okay, if you're not sure about that explanation, check out the other channel. As I said, there is another way that I did it on the other channel where I look at each term individually. But yeah, if you understand that, fantastic. Okay, I know this may be tricky for the maths literacy guys. Don't worry, they're not all going to be this difficult. Some will be maybe harder, some will be easier. But as I said, just keep practicing, keep doing these videos, and you're going to be fine. Okay, now again, I'm going to assume that the maths lit guys will be okay with some of the other questions, but not when we have 4x squared, because this is now looking at algebra. Okay, so what I want to do is, again, I'm just going to tell you a few things that you need to keep in mind to do this. Okay, one of the things is that you could simply just substitute in some values. Unfortunately, it won't necessarily help you entirely, but one of the things you could do is to substitute in a value. So, and eliminate each. So this symbol means x is less than 2. So what you would do is you would put that in and you would see, well, would this work? Well, let's say that I make x 0, which is less than 2. I get 0 greater than 0, right? Which wouldn't work because 4 times 0 is 0 and 8 times 0 is 0. So I can already rule out this one, this x, this d. Okay. And so what you could do then is you could sub in some of the values, and then you would therefore be able to eliminate some of them. But I'm going to show you how to do it correctly. Okay, so what we do is we take the 8x to the other side. And so we get 0. Okay, 4x squared minus 8x greater than 0. And then what we do is we take out an x from each of these. Okay, an x from each of these. All right, so if we take out an x, this means that you have a 4, and the 2 means there's 2 x's. And if you've taken one x out, you have one left. I'm actually I should really take out a 4x. I should actually take out 4x because there's a 4 in the 8 as well. So let me just remove that. We're going to take out 4. And so when we take out a 4, we're just left with x. We're just left with a 1x. Okay. And then if I take an x out of here, I'm left with no x's. But I am left with, well, if there's 8 and I've taken out 4, we don't say that there's 4 left. We say 8 divided by 4 is 2. And we say we would be left with 2. And this is what we call, these brackets would be what we call able to get our critical values. Now, our critical values are where it changes from being bigger than to less than. Okay, so I'm not going to go into too much detail and explain what I just said. What I'm rather going to say is this. Those critical values are going to tell you what the values here need to be. Okay, so since it's multiple choice. So we're looking for our critical values. So for x, we make equal to 0, and we make x minus 2 equal to 0. And these tell you the values that need to be in the answer. And so we get x equals 0 and x equals 2. Okay, and that's why we can then see that B or C would be the correct answer, because we have this value of 0 here as well. So now we just need to see, well, is it B or is it C? So what we can do is we know that we put those on a number line. So our number line here and here. So remember, our number line goes from negative and then gets to 0 here, and then it'll go. So I'm going to put the 0 in pink, and then it would go all the way up to 2. Okay, and in the middle would be a 1. Okay, so what you can do now is you just test to see what happens when I put 1 in, because we know the answer is either going to be on the left, it's either going to be, let me put this in green, it's either going to be here and here, or in the middle. Okay, or in the middle. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to test the middle to see if it works. So what I can do is I can put in 1, right? And so 4 times 1 squared will be 4. Minus 8 times 1 will be 8. So 4 minus 8 is negative 4. Is that less than 0? Yes, negative 4 is less than 0. So we know that it is indeed in the middle. Okay, so we know it's here. And if you were to test a number outside of these, it would be different. It would not work. Okay, so we know that we are then dealing with C, because in between, this is the symbol meaning in between. Okay, as I say, the pure maths lit guys, the pure maths guys, I'm assuming that's okay. For the maths lit guys, just to explain that, if it was for it to be B, it would have to be here and here. Okay, but as it stands, that's not where it is. Okay, so it would be B if it was here and here, where I'm putting a cross where it isn't. Okay. Guys, if this is helping you, please like and subscribe to this channel. I would love to get to 1,000 members. That's my goal for this channel. The other channel, the Smart Prep channel, is well over, I think it's almost 8,000 members. So check that out. That's the main one. But yeah, just trying to get this channel a bit busier as well. It would be nice to be able to advertise, because at the moment I do this all for free. So it'd be nice if I get a bit of YouTube revenue. So please help me out and I will keep making videos. Okay, so hopefully I've done enough to earn your subscription here. Okay, now we want to now solve the inequality for 3 minus x squared and minus 4. So what I'm going to be doing in this video is just catering for the maths literacy guys. So if you already know the answer to this, guys, doing pure maths, just skip to the next one. But if you're doing maths lit, stick around. I'm going to try and make this as easy as I can for guys who haven't done pure math. So what this means is that this number is less than 0, okay? Because if this little crocodile, when we used to draw a crocodile, right? If he wants to eat the 0, then he's a hungry crocodile. If he's willing to eat nothing rather than this must be negative. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to say is anything that's squared is positive. Okay. Anything that's squared is positive. Okay. So this part here is always going to be positive, because let's say that you have -4 squared. Well, -4 times -4 ends up being positive, okay, plus 16. And if I have 4 times 4, that's positive, obviously. So any number squared is positive. So actually what all we have to do is look and say, well, for this to be negative, for this side to be negative, this part here has to be negative, because a positive times a negative is a negative. All right, so well, it's already got a negative, so all we have to do is make sure that this is positive. Because if the negative's in front, the x just has to be positive for it not to change to a positive. So keep this negative, and how do we do that? We need to keep x positive. And we can do that there. C keeps x positive. Okay. So that the answer there is C. X is greater than 0, because this needs to be negative here, and so x must be positive for this to stay negative. Okay, I'm going to do one more question and then move on to well, then I'll stop the video, and I will then record another one which I'll post. And let me put a challenge to you. What I'll do is I'll post that one when this video gets 10 comments. How about that? 10 comments. So please just comment. I'll tell you what, please comment when you are writing your MBTs, or what MBT questions you would like to help with, or what I'd really be interested to know is, are you doing pure maths or maths lit? I'd love to know the percentage of people watching this video who are doing maths lit versus pure maths. Okay. All right. So we have 3 root 12. So what we have to do is simplify this. Okay. Simplify this. Okay. So something to bear in mind is that anytime you have a square root, in order to get to a not square root, you need a perfect square inside. So what I'm saying is the square root of 4 is equal to 2. Okay, so when you look at these, you want to find factors of 12 that would simplify into something that doesn't have a root part. So what I can do is the factors of 12 are 3 and 4. And what that does is the 4 part would then simplify to just 2. Okay, and then the 27, well, a perfect square there would be 9. And 3 times 9 is 27. So I'm just going to turn that into that. And I'm going to leave the bottom for actually, no, let me not leave the bottom. Let me keep the bottom just so that you can see. So what we're now looking for is we noticed that we had 3 and 3 inside the bracket. So a little tip here, if you see 3 here and 3 here, what we want to do is we want to end up canceling stuff. And so we're going to try and find a 3 in the bottom. And we know 3 times 8 is 24. Okay. And so what we end up getting then is the 4 simplifies to 2. And so we end up getting 3 times 2, which is 6. Okay. And then we keep the root 3. And then the perfect square, 9 square rooted is 3. And so it'll be 3 root 3. Okay. And now at the bottom, we have, I'm going to just make it as, just to simplify, I'm just going to do it like this, okay? Just so that we can see that we can take a 3 out and cancel. Oops, this one is, that one's 8. Okay, so what I'm saying is I take a 3 out at the top and it'll cancel with the bottom. But before I do that, I'm going to actually just say 6, because do you see the root 3 and root 3 are both the same? So it's like apples. 6 apples minus 3 apples will give us 3 apples. So I'm just going to make that 3 root 3. And then the bottom will be root 3 times 8. I'm going to put the root 3, root 8 there. Okay, and now I get something that's simpler because those cancel. And I'm left with 3 over root 8. Okay, now I look at the answers and I go, right, this obviously isn't perfectly simple, but I do remember that 8 is 4 times 2, and the square root of 4 is 2. So I'll actually end up with 2 root 2. So I know my answer is A. For those of you who understand that, thank you very much for watching. For those of you who are not quite sure how that root 8 simplifies, I'm just going to quickly show that. So root 8 is equal to 2 times 8, right? 2 times 4, which is root 2 times root 4, because we can separate these two. And the square root of 4 is 2. So that's how we get A. All right, so I will be doing, thank you very much. Let me just stop sharing that quickly. So I will be posting the next set of questions in the next video when I get some comments on this one, 10 comments. Please like, subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff. And as I said, head over to Smart Prep. And if you are writing on Saturday, I wish you the best of luck.